Entrepreneur life requires risk, persistence, and a slightly unreasonable belief that this thing you're building is going to work.
And let's not forget copious amounts of caffeine.
Yes, that too.
Hey guys, I'm Allison, the Caffeinated Entrepreneur, an AI-powered business strategist and systems builder with an energy level that should probably come with a warning label.
And I'm Bernie, the man behind the mustache. I'm a virtual events producer who makes sure the tech works, the delivery is clean, and nobody panics, including Allison.
Each week, we are picking up the conversation where my weekly newsletter leaves off. No teaching, no pretending we have it all figured out.
Just two entrepreneurs talking honestly about the highs and lows of growing our own businesses.
And why some ideas are worth sipping on a little bit longer. Welcome to the Caffeinated Entrepreneur. Let's go behind the brew. Hey guys, grab your favorite caffeinated beverage and join us for today's episode where we're going behind the brew of issue number 62, the Hero Filter, who your content is really calling in. Howdy, howdy, Bernie.
Well,
happy recording day.
Goodness, happy recording day. You are definitely now in Texas. It's sinking in, huh?
I am so in Texas. And I would just like to say, few episodes ago, I was all fussy about your Stockyards cow mug.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited to report that next week, 2 weeks from now, I am taking my best friend from like 20 years. She's coming to visit with her two daughters. We are going to a rodeo at the Stockyards, and I
go.
have every intention of getting
You'll
myself
be
a
coming
mug.
home with a mug. Fantastic.
I'm coming home with a cow mug, a Longhorn, Texas cow mug to show off
I can't wait to
here
see
on
it.
the podcast.
Yes, can't wait.
Just so you know, just so you know. And for the record, for all of you watching, not watching, Bernie and I are not going to show our mugs. However, we have warring mugs today. Mine has a Bible verse. Bernie's
It's
has
very
bad
inappropriate.
words.
Yeah, not gonna.
It's very inappropriate. But they're mugs that we both talked about in past episodes. I do feel the other reason like I need to go get a cow mug is because I need a new mug. Like I've literally now, mind you, I have a ton of mugs. They're just in storage, but
Well, you need to shift the rotation. Like you need to rotate your stock.
I do.
Yeah, yeah. I
I do. The mug I could get that I haven't shown yet, the only one I haven't shown is literally the mug I got from the dentist office. When we joined the dentist office, we got a coffee mug. And I was like, what an odd thing to give. I mean, okay.
you can give them some free advertising right here on the podcast.
Right? Seriously. If you're in Texas and you need a dentist, but anyway, they are a good dentist. But okay, this nothing to do with our topic today. So let's dive in. So, all right, friends, I did this issue not that long ago. It's really a very recent issue, but it got a really, really good response because people saw themselves either as the person who was acting like the hero when they needed to be the guide, or that they realized that they were calling in the wrong people with their message, but they wanted to be the guide, not the hero. If you're not familiar with Donald Miller and his story brand concept, his whole shtick is that you are the guide, but your client, your ideal client, the prospect, is the hero of the story. The hero is on a quest. During their quest, they're struggling with particular challenges. You are the sage, the guide that helps them get through the challenges so they can complete their quest, save the day, all the things. And what we sometimes do as service providers is rather than being the guide, we are the hero. And we do that in our content. And that was literally what I was talking about in the newsletter. But we're not going to talk about content today. We're going to talk about real life stories where we have been the hero and not the guide, because I feel like there's lessons to be learned there in sharing that. So I'm going to make you go first, Bernie. Okay. So you're a virtual events producer. Have you ever had a virtual event? And I've asked you this in the past, but have you ever had somebody who hosted a virtual event, and even if it went well, like they didn't get the results they wanted and you felt guilty to an extent because they didn't get the results that, you said webinars will get you these kinds of results, right? And then they didn't get it. Do you ever feel guilty about that?
The answer is yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many clients that I have worked with where They have great content. They have great intentions. Um, but for whatever reason, it did not work out for them. And a lot of the times when that happens, it's because the expectations were not truly aligned, right? Like
Mm,
I guess my shtick, if you will, is about creating engagement within the virtual event,
mhm,
right? And that should
right.
ultimately lead to sales if you do the things afterwards that are supposed to happen. And there have been a few times where people have come in, they're thinking, hey, we're going to do an event, we're going to get lots of leads, all kinds of sales, everything's going to be wonderful. And then sales didn't materialize afterwards, right? And I choose that word very
Mhm,
specifically because they don't just materialize. There has to be stuff that happens
right,
afterwards, right? So there wasn't the
right.
right expectation going in that there was going to be more work afterwards for there to be sales,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so if I was
Well,
unclear, that's when I feel guilty about it because apparently I was, if that was the expectation, right?
right, right. And I will say this as someone who during our very first event where you were my producer, I had wicked engagement. People were blowing up the chat. It was incredible. And not a single person signed up to work with me. However, it had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do with the event content. It was the fact that the offer I had was not well laid out. And I didn't present it in a way that was well laid out. And so it was the offer that was the problem, not the event. And so not that I think you felt guilty that I didn't make any sales that day or that week or that month or that year technically, but it was November. So, um, but it was the fact that, and this is where I have to remind myself that I might give well, I know I give someone, I shouldn't even say I might, I give people everything they need to be successful. But if something else about their business is quote unquote broken, like in my case, for that particular thing. It was the first time I had ever come up with that offer. I didn't know what the heck I was offering. I would shouldn't be surprised nobody signed up for it. And retrospectively, I'm not. Disappointed at the time, yes. But your services and you helping me work through the systematic production of a webinar over and over again is what I built my business on. And now I'm routinely closing sales after webinars. I expect it. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely. But that's
yeah.
that's the key, right? And that's something that I changed very early on. When I know I'm having a sales conversation and we are moving forward with it, very clear about the expectation that, it may lead to sales, but you should not have the expectation that you're running your first webinar and everyone in there is going to raise their hand and click the buy now button. That's not reality,
Right.
right? Um,
Right.
but does it happen sometimes? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it does. But the reality is
Yeah.
you should probably have the expectation the first one's going to be a dumpster fire, because then anything above that, you're like, "Phew, that went really well. I had 7 people in the room that were here and wanted to hear me speak. Not, oh man, I thought I was
Mhm.
going to get 100 people in the room and everyone was going to buy." Right? You got to have the
Yeah.
right expectation about it.
Yeah. And I will say this also specifically about virtual events. For me, I had that expectation foolishly that I was going to get more people in the room every
Mm,
single time I did an event because it happened like for the first 3 webinars, like they kept getting bigger and bigger. And then the fourth one, I had less people and I was super disappointed before the event. Like going into it, I mean, and now that I've been doing events for what? Oh my gosh, for yeah, a year, solid year and a half.
mhm.
And I'm like, well, duh, they're not always going to keep getting bigger. And I will say this that I've actually closed more sales on the smaller webinars because they're more intimate
That's
anyway.
right. That's
So
right. Well,
just
i-
adjusting
it's a combination,
expectations.
getting the right people in the room, having the right message, and having the right follow up.
Mhm. Yeah.
It is not rocket science. It is not easy necessarily, right? Or rather, it's simple but not necessarily easy, right? That's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right. So for me, I actually felt more guilty, less as the AI business builder coach thing, right? Like that's the offer I've had for the last year and a half. But back when I was a one-on-one service provider, when I was doing my OBM work, I felt so guilty when I strategized a new marketing campaign or I was in charge of the launch and I was in charge of I was in charge of everything and then I put it all out there. I worked my hardest and then bing, bing, like we didn't have a great launch or we didn't whatever. And I felt so guilty. And it's funny because maybe the maturity level of the client played into that because, you're going to have launches that don't do well. And when you do a debrief, I had my one client, um, I talk about Chris and Rebecca. They were the ones that were the CIA agents that I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
until afterwards. Remember, I talked about them. Um, I remember we did a launch for them and it did not go as well as we'd wanted. And afterwards, though, all they had to say was positive things about me and the way I ran the launch, even though numerically it did not work out for them.
Mhm.
And I was like, why do I still felt, I almost felt worse, like more guilty because they were so kind about how I ran the launch. And I'm like, but we didn't make the sales goal, right? And then on the flip side, I have had clients who I did all the freaking work and they did not keep their end of the bargain and their launch flopped. And then they looked at me and they were ticked at me that it didn't work. And I was like, I asked you to go live. I asked you to post this. I asked you to make send the
Right.
DMs. You
This
wouldn't do
isn't an
any
easy
of it.
button, right? Like you
Right. And so it's like, I am not only do I not feel guilty, I'm pissed. Like, I did my part. You didn't do yours.
Mhm. Mhm.
But so in the newsletter, I refer to these people as the damsel in distress, right? They are the ones that want you to swoop in and save their business. And they want the hero. And I'm like, And then the people who truly are the hero and I'm the guide, then I feel guilty that I didn't rescue them from a disaster.
It's
It's like an oxymoron. Go
Yeah,
figure.
right, go figure. But
Yeah.
it's hard
So
when you're trying
now
to do good, right? When you're trying to help people, it's hard to sometimes discern the difference between the 2.
yeah. Yeah, well, and that's exactly the next question I have, as if you're reading notes, guys. It's as if he has the questions. But I truly, how do we go into conversations, whether they're with prospects or already with clients that we're getting ready to do, a big project with? How do we tell them I'm here to support you, but I'm not here to rescue you? Like, cuz I feel like it's a nuance, right? I want you to borrow my confidence that this is going to be an awesome event, but at the same time, you need to do the work because I can only do so much, right?
So I did an event not long ago. A friend of mine is a trust expert, right? So she helps organizations sell using trust tactics, if you will, right? How do you build more trust?
Mhm.
Somebody in the session said something that was just so amazing, and it was the scent of desperation is exceptionally pungent. And I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, that is just yes, yes, it is. So like you have to kind of to look for and watch for that desperation, right? When you notice someone is like, I am totally putting all of my eggs into this one basket for like for you
Mhm.
to fix my problem, to be the one. Like if they are saying that or inching around, that's probably what it is. But there are also
Yeah.
people out there that's what they think that they need, but really they do need to be the hero of their journey. And it's hard to
Yeah.
discern it. I don't necessarily know if I have the right answer other than to say is, you have to look out for the desperate ones.
Yeah. And when I'll say this, I have to be careful not to be desperate, right? I have caught myself in the past where I desperately want to help the person. Like they're telling me the pain point
Right,
and the problem.
right,
And I'm
both
like,
signals.
oh my gosh, I can help you. Let me help you. Because I know I really can get them results.
Mhm.
And it's not so much that I'm desperate to make the sale because I need the money. I'm just desperate to make the sale because I want to move them from point A to point B and I know I can help them. And it comes on too strong, and I know that I've done that where I've come on really strong and, I am not bossy, just aggressively helpful, but that's not always a good thing when someone and you made this comment back in episode 14, I looked it up. We were talking about accountability and you made the comment that you can't want someone else's success more than they do. And there have been times on sales calls where I have so desperately wanted someone else to be successful and they weren't willing to do the work to be successful. And therefore, my offer to help them was not what they wanted. Like they said, no, it wasn't even about price. It wasn't about, it was just like, no, I don't want that kind of help. And I was like, oh, well, all right, shoot yourself in the foot if you have to, like, whatever, you know, but
So, have you ever stopped to wonder, getting a step up, how many people have ever thought that about you or about me?
they
Like,
wanted to help me, but I wouldn't let
but you
them.
weren't, yeah, you weren't ready to be helped, or you didn't quite want the version of success that they wanted for you.
This is going to sound pretty arrogant, but never because I am so incredibly ambitious.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side. I have had multiple people that mentored me and coached me said, "Oh my gosh, I'm afraid to tell you what I think is possible because you dive so fast." And it's become a bad thing for me. It's become, and we talked about this in the past. I set that goal and then I haven't even reached the top of the mountain before I've already looked at the next mountain and said, I'm going to go climb that one now. Right. And I just keep going higher and higher. So I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, 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 bring it, bring it, bring it. And I've had people be like, I got to stop telling you what I think we could potentially do together because I'm a little nervous. You're going to take me up on it. I think that this is a really good lead into this next question is when someone is trying to sell you on a transformation, right? Bernie, you could be a millionaire if you just let me teach you how to do this thing,
Mhm.
right? Like, is it
And
a lack of ability on your part or belief on your part, or is an ick you're pushing too
I
hard?
don't think it's really either of those. It's more of an interest thing. Like if I'm not really
Okay.
interested in the subject matter, in the thing that they're asking me to do, like I'm not going to engage with it. I'm not going to lean into it.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's a job. Um,
Hmm.
like that's one of the cool parts about what I do now is that I get to go in and learn about things, and then if I want to go in and do more, I can,
Yeah.
but nobody's pushing them on me, and that was part of the problem early. So I didn't want to be pushed into stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's flip the script then. How do you and how do service providers sell people on what's possible, the transformation, without making people think we're here to rescue your business, we're here to rescue you. How do we position ourselves that way?
I think you're probably going to have a better answer than this on this than I am, but I would say a lot of it is qualification, right? Just really understanding who
Mm.
you're talking to. And again, if they seem really desperate, it's probably not going to be the right fit. Um, but then having the clear conversation, right? Both in the conversation, sales conversation that you have, but furthermore, the contract that you sign. Everything should be very clearly
Yeah.
set out, who does what, when, how, all of the things, so that there is really no question. And if there is, you
Mhm.
have the document to reference.
Yep.
Yeah,
Expectations.
I
Yeah.
think that would be my answer, at least to start.
Okay. Well, this will not be a surprise to you. My answer is systems. Right. So I literally, I had a client who had her last week in my 12-week program, and 12 weeks goes by so fast. People are like, 12 weeks is so long. It is not. It goes by so fast. But she finished up this week and she actually got through all the modules, all the lessons. She was sort of cramming in these last couple of weeks. And as we were having her offboarding conversation, we talked about next steps. And she's actually, I mentioned her, a couple months ago in an episode. She was the conversation that I did not think was going to sign up. Like on the call, I was like, this is not right for her. But then she qualified herself by disqualifying herself. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you remember that
Talk yourself
conversation?
into it. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and we got to the end as we're offboarding and sort of kind of doing a debrief of her time with me. I said, did you accomplish what you set out to accomplish in this 12 weeks? And she said, no, I didn't. And of course, immediately a little bit of me is like, oh no, she's going to be mad at me. And she was like, I needed to be doing more throughout the 12 weeks on my own. And she took full ownership of what, because she did spend, knowing her time was coming to an end, she threw herself in head first for the last couple of weeks. And she's like, oh my gosh, there's so much great stuff in here that I didn't take advantage of. And she owned it that she didn't take the action she did take early on. And I was like, oh my gosh, it felt so good to hear her say that. But the truth is that once she did dive in head first and went for it, because of the way I systematized everything that my students do, it was very easy for her to make a lot of progress all at once, right? And I feel like there are people when they get upset that they didn't get what they wanted out of the deal, even if expectations were set properly, it's because the client delivery was messy, and so they feel like, well, I got slighted because you didn't set me up for success. Like I couldn't have been successful. You didn't set me up. And I can honestly say that I have set my offer up, all of my offers now, up very systematically. That, we got 5 calls. If you haven't booked call number 4 and 5, oh, I'm sorry. That we had things we needed to get done and you didn't do it. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's all very systematic. So that's my answer is, if you want to sell the transformation and not sell a rescue, by systematizing your client delivery, you put the responsibility, but you also give the power to the person to be successful with or without quote unquote you. If that makes
Yeah,
sense?
it does. It makes a lot. Well, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to building some systems here very soon with you, Allison.
Yes, accountability, y'all. Bernie keeps saying he's going to start working with me again. Man hasn't signed up yet. We're just putting this out there
Oh, it's
publicly.
coming.
I'll make this one of those clips. This will be one of our clips.
Oh
So it'll
gosh,
go
yeah, you're
out
gonna put it out
everywhere.
there for everyone to see.
So if you know Bernie, everybody.
Ask him if he signed up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the last thing, and this kind of comes back to the ideas of systems. For me, I offer, I don't want to say I don't offer high touch. I offer high opportunity for touch, in terms of like people can and get to me if they need me, but they don't need me because they have everything they need. But for you with the webinars and with virtual events, how do you balance being a high touch virtual events producer with having someone be dependent on you to run their event?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a lot of balance there because a lot of what I do right now, I do myself, right? So
Yeah.
I am the boots on the ground. But from a high touch and high value standpoint, I feel like I give as much as I can in the time that I have with them, and I again try to be very clear about the expectations that they need to do. Because again, I'm not going to go to their
Mhm.
LinkedIn and send out invites on their behalf. Like that's not
Right.
part of the service, but that is something
Mhm.
that if they want to fill their event, that they're going to have to do. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like there are some times where I do come in still and be that hero, but I definitely have started to be more dialed in with how I'm helping them, right? I've create
Mhm.
the way that my offers are now, it is very much, I don't want to say a checklist, but these are the things that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And that is how I've mitigated it. And I am from this point forward.
Yeah, and I find the same way. So for me, like I literally had a client call today. We spent 90 minutes on the call and I kid you not, all we did was clean up her to-do list together. And I was like, I cannot believe that we just spent 90 minutes doing that. And she laughed and she's like, but this is what I need. She's like, that's what I needed from you today. I needed you to make me clean up my to-do list. And I was like, I love you, but we are not doing this again. Like we've done it together once. Now you know how to systematically think about determining what belongs on your to-do list, what belongs in your projects, and what needs to just be
Mhm.
removed completely. By the time we meet next, you will have this done. We will not do this together again. Like I will give them I'll throw them that line the first time, but then I let go. And I'm like, if you float away, that's it. Like that's where I'm trying to really help people not be dependent. I'm realizing that some people literally need to be taught how to think the way I think. I just do it naturally. It doesn't occur to me that they don't. But when I teach them, and this is my big shtick, right? I don't do for, I teach how. I will teach you how to think that way about your to do list. It's now on you, and I'm not doing it again. And bless her heart, she was like, "You're right." And by the time we meet again, this will be done. And I was like, "Yep, better be, better be."
Yes, it will. Thank you very much.
All right. So I just want to kind of to close this down with this concept of not so much hero or guide or damsel in distress or whatever, but the idea of somebody who is a ride or die, who will literally work with you no matter what because of you. They're truly ride or die fan. And it's not that they're dependent on you. It's just that they believe that what you have to offer them is what's going to take them to the next level. So do you have that where you're a ride or die for someone else or someone is a ride or die for you?
I would say yes. I have a few folks that have definitely invested their trust and the responsibility of managing or supporting their events in me. And even if it doesn't go exactly perfect, they have somebody show unmentionables on screen, or maybe the right link doesn't get sent out. They still trust me to continue forward and help them with those great events.
We would say that I'm a ride or die of Bernie's, everybody. We're just going to say it.
Yes, indeed.
I don't think I've done an event. I did. Well, that's not true. In February, I did run that 3-day event without you guys. And I was like, never again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a few, and I would say that there are a few that I am for as well. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily because of the service that they provide, but frankly, in conjunction with the service they provide, but the relationship that I have with them as well.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense. It makes sense. Well, I could definitely say, and this again won't be a surprise because I talk about my business coach all the time, but my business coach, Michelle Vroom, I am a ride or die. I was stalking her for years before I actually hired her to be my coach. And she and I have been together almost 3 years now. And I have had other people who are in my world that are also in her world talk about how they've seen me level up every time she and I go deep together into my business. And so, totally a ride or die fan of her. And then it's really funny because I have a woman who knows me through Michelle, who is now one of my clients, who is a ride or die of me. And it's really kind of funny how, again, the networking, right? You build someone else's business, they'll build yours kind of
Yeah.
thing. But she's a massive ride or die with me. She's signed on me for a year and she's just like, whatever you do, I know it's going to be good. I just want to be in the room. And I'm like,
Yeah,
cool.
right.
I love that. And I'm not her hero. I'm her guide. She's the hero. And that's the way it should be. And I think that's what I think ultimately makes someone a ride or die. They understand, or you've made them understand that they're the hero, you're the guide, and your job is to help them continue, you know, climb the
You
next
go. Yeah,
mountain, conquer the next dragon, right? Slay the
right.
next dragon.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that for someone, the more likely you're going to be to develop those ride or die clients.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
again, it goes beyond just the business, I think, in cases too. Like people come to someone like you or me, not just for the system, not just for the event. It's
Mhm.
confidence, it's security. It's
Yeah.
like there's so many layers to it.
So we're going to go ahead and land this plane just with this reminder, right? When someone that is working with you doesn't get results, if you feel frustration or resentment or even guilt, could it be because you positioned yourself as their hero and they were the damsel in distress rather than making them the hero and you are their guide? And if you think about the people that are most likely going to be the ride or die fans, they're the ones that you're the guide and you continue to help them slay the dragon. So, Bernie, any other thoughts you want to add to the end of that?
That was beautifully said. I've got nothing else to add there.
I finally get a clip. So, guys, thanks for listening. Remember, keep showing up, keep taking the next step because the caffeine is strong.
And so are you.